you're able to share, real quick about maybe one thing that really stood out to you from each of those. It says, were you able to turn in any information on that, or were you just able to save that information for yourself, Kyla?
I saved it for myself.
Okay, yeah, perfect. And yeah, if you just want to walk us through that.
Okay, so I got my personality type as an INFJT. It says advocate, I think, which is not super surprising, like, because it talks about how like there's a part of me that's introverted and things like that. And then for the career, I think that that one was pretty accurate because it did fall inside the category that I was interested in engineering. And another one was like natural sciences manager. I know it wanted us to, for one of the assignments, want us to tie it into maybe how that can impact or relate to environmental. And I figured like the sciences department would also help me be able to do that in a way.
Hmm.
And then it says that my top career matches were architectural or engineering manager, a natural sciences manager, or a lawyer. Those are like my top three. I sort of took a picture of those.
Nice. And also, if I know one of the questions we set for the assignment was, what's an environmental concern that matters to you? What was something that really popped into your head that you're really right now just wanting to, get a little bit more information on, or definitely mold your career to be able to try and tackle that issue if you can.
I don't know if I necessarily say like I need to know more about it. I think it's just like becoming more common in my eyes. It's really just like not, I mean, I guess people's non like just what like going down the streets, or even now that we're back in person, driving to King every day and passing some of these streets and seeing just how like trashy and filthy and like dirty it is, feel of like people's trash that they just throw out their cars or things like that. I think that's pretty sad. I know a lot about like recycling and composting and putting that stuff away to make it better and cleaner for the environment. Oh, your
Mhm.
dog is cute. I'm sorry, that was off topic. But yeah, I'd say that that's been like a concern of mine that I'm just seeing more and more common, which is, I know that we're not there yet, but even just looking, it was shocking looking at the survey results and how most students do know about like recycling and stuff like that, but they still talk about how they want to see more of that, which I can understand because just looking at our community, not many people do practice it.
Mhm. And thankfully, you made that connection, and you mentioned the survey results, and so this definitely takes into account some of the traits that I'm assuming just because it pulled you into the architectural and the engineering, you're already looking into all the different connections that you've already been exposed to, and being able to make those connections. It's definitely a good thing to continually practice, because definitely going into environmental areas, you really gotta have an open mind and try to think of all the different connections that could happen with one thing, because sometimes you never know what your actions will end up developing into as results or consequences later on. Yeah, so thank you for sharing. I know it on Google Classroom it notified me that you turned something in, but unfortunately it's not reflecting or showing me any of the responses to the questions. And so I don't know if you were able to jot down responses, or something must have happened. But yeah.
Oh wait, so the worksheet is blank?
Yeah, the worksheet is blank, and then it also notified me. I know, looking at Sarah's information, she turned in a couple screenshots, but Sarah, if you turned in responses to the Google Docs document, unfortunately, it's not popping up on my end either. And I don't know if Lisa, if that may just be maybe because you know role assignments for me, or it may just be some kind of glitch or something else that happened.
I will try and look while Sarah shares. Let's see what I can find out.
Okay. But thank you, Kyla, for sharing. And Sarah, if you'd like to share next.
Okay, so the personality I got was ISFJT. Um, I wasn't really surprised. They said I'm an introvert, observant, um, it says I make decisions based off of my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Tactics, apparently I'm judgmental. And then the last one says turbulent. Oh, and then that's like how the confidence and showing abilities. I didn't get to see the career choices I got, but building was 100, thinking was 0. So that concerned me a little bit. I was probably just tired and I didn't want to. I was probably like, I don't want to do anything right now. Creating was 50, helping was 25, persuading was 11, and then organizing was 0, which was also concerning because personally I love organizing and just cleaning, but maybe they meant organizing like as in like spreadsheets and paperwork and stuff like that. One social or environmental issue concern I had was water pollution. And then some careers for that were global environmental health science, environmental quality and health, occupational and environmental health, global environmental sustainability and health, and then international public health. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing on that. Hopefully, the personality one, it seems like it was, similar to Kyla. Some of those things were definitely spot on. Based off of what you already know about yourself. And then, it sounds like it also showed you a couple things that, were a little new to you. The second one, definitely the careers. It was interesting, seeing the results of, thinking a 0 and organizing a 0. But like you said, this one is a little bit more tied in, looking at career wise. So I would definitely agree, maybe, organization techniques that people have in the workplace professionally. And, thinking, you could probably look at it the same way. Although thinking, it may just be what I'm trying to remember is those were probably questions in terms of trying to ask you, maybe in terms of like leadership, because I see this more as like critical thinking or trying to go into more sort of those positions and scenarios. However, in seeing the the higher numbers in building and creating and showing a little bit more in helping also, it just reflects how going back into the issue that you brought up, you really want to, and same thing with the career recommendations it provided, it really, I think highlights, the sort of things that you really want to do. You really want to build really good things to be able to not only address that issue, but create it in a way to be able to not only to help people, but again, give them a lot of good information to make it understandable for them. And same thing, with the survey, you definitely were able to build that together with along with the other team members we had, and again, to be able to reach out and hopefully get information, be able to help the communities. But thank you for sharing, Sarah. Hopefully, and Kyle and Sarah, this provide a little bit more information for you. But again, just a reminder, a lot of the things that you see, especially in the careers, those are suggestions. Based off of what you answered and some of those things, you could definitely take them over to find out new information. If you want to retake it, maybe a couple years later, you don't know, some new influences, new things that you learned, that could always change, especially if you're looking into a potential career change, something new you want to try out. So definitely don't be afraid to go back to these sort of things to find out, if you want to go a different direction in somewhere. But again, yeah, these are just suggestions. You don't have to take this information too firmly, but hopefully it provided you with some additional good things for you.
Awesome. Oh, go ahead. Who was going to talk?
Oh, I was just going to say that's about all I had for right now. But again, if there's any additional questions pertaining to these kind of things, or if you're looking for more resources to help you, do a little bit more career research, definitely feel free to get in touch. And I could definitely try to help you out and give you some more resources that way.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Just, I know we mentioned this maybe a workshop or two ago, that MMSD, who is the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, they're the ones who are responsible for making sure our water is clean before it goes out to the lake. Also give a lot of support for our schoolyard projects with green infrastructure throughout the city. And they have a youth council that they're putting together. There is an application for this program, but they're looking for 16 to 18-year-olds who are interested in environmental issues and building some leadership roles in that context. So if you guys are interested, I can send you a link that has the flyer with description and the application for you to fill out. I know that's due, I think, mid-June. But if it's something that you're remotely interested in, it might be worth just taking the time, filling out the application, and then, you might go through an interview process, which is really great for professional development for you. Just get used to doing those sorts of professional experiences. And then if you're selected to sit on the council, you'll meet, I think it's either monthly or bi-monthly, with other students from the greater Milwaukee area. So they're not just students who are in Milwaukee City, they'll also be students from different suburbs, and you all would share your own perspectives on what's going on in Milwaukee related to health and sustainability and water quality. So that might be a really nice program for you guys to kind of slide into as a next step after this internship, and keep you connected to some of the same organizations that you've been learning about and working with your time with Reflow. So I can send that to you all if that is interesting to you too, especially Sarah, with your mention about water pollution and all of those types of positions that would really relate to this youth council. It might be a cool thing for you to check out. So I'm going to send an email. You guys decide if you want to click on it or not. Okay. Awesome. Oakley dokley. So our next chunk of time, we're going to talk through the summary report and some of those survey responses that came through from the almost 1,800 students who responded to all of you. So I hope you're really feeling good about that response rate. I know that Angeline and the other members of the district sustainability team were really pleased and really excited to see how much response you all received. And then there was a climate justice committee meeting last night. And I know Justin shared some of the general results of the survey with the committee there, and they were really excited to hear and see the work that students are doing in the district and how much outreach and community voice you guys were able to gather through this survey. And they're looking forward to seeing the final results and hearing more from the work that you all did. So I know, Kyla, that you missed last week. I know that we put out a assignment that had links to looking at some of these analytics. So Google Form puts together some summary information for all of the questions. The tricky part is because we had a survey in Spanish and in English, it analyzed those separately because they were separate pools of data. And then we needed to bring them together to get ultimate counts and percentages and all of that. So we linked in each of those analytics so you can see generally and very visually what the results were. And then we ended up combining them into a spreadsheet, which had total response counts. And then I've since updated this to have percentage responses as well, in case having a percent made more sense to visually share what was going on with those results rather than just having a count. Okay. And then we started to work through this picto chart to put together the report. Now, Sarah, I know that you have been in PictoChart. You've been doing awesome in there. Kyla, I am curious if you had time to look at this assignment and hop into PictoChart, or if it's just totally foreign to you.
So yeah, I did. And I tried to do my picture chart, but I didn't know how to like switch out some of the like templates and stuff.
Mhm.
So I looked at the report and I saw Sarah's, like you said, hers is really good. And I tried to do mine, but I didn't make it very far. So what I did instead was like sort of make a list, like a, I don't know, summary report on paper of like the things I'd like to include and show MPS. I just don't have the visuals. I'm not sure how to work picture chart like that.
Yeah.
I'm struggling in that department. But I
So-
do like, I did look at the results and stuff like that.
Awesome. So that is fantastic to know. I don't really know. Did I stop recording or is this still recording? Where does it say that?
It's still recording.
It's still recording. Every time I'm in a different platform, I don't know where the things are that tell me what's happening. It's like I can't find the chat, I can't find the share buttons, all that stuff. So thank you for being my eyes on the other side. And Kyla, like, no pressure on PictoChart. Like, I knew not being at the session kind of a challenge to pick it up, but awesome that you guys went through and you analyzed some results and you have notes, because truly we want to be able to like represent your voice and what you feel is most important to share with MPS in the final report. And Rifa will take on like pulling everything together, your ideas, Sarah's ideas, as well as James, if he provides any feedback as well. So we'll do our best to make it as comprehensive and as reflective of what you guys really want to say. But what I can do, if this is helpful, just real quick, Kyla, for you, like your note list is perfect. Like even if you like take a picture of that or share that document with us, that's awesome. If you want to and have some time, I know you're in your last week of school and senioritis is a real thing and you probably, have other stuff you got to do for school. But if you want to play in PictoChart, it's pretty easy, like drag and drop for different things. If she loads here, I can show you some of the things that you can do. It's unresponsive. To really just make that your own, because Sarah went through and you can delete different blocks that are in the PictoChart. You can add new ones. You can modify graphs. You can drag images in and those sorts of things. But again, like if that's too big of a lift right now, I 100% understand. What's most important is just that you can share with us some of those like major trends that you saw and things that you want to do and make sure that is shared with MPS. But I just opened up yours really quickly, Kyla, if that's cool. So I'm going to try not to break it. But like all of these images here, these are all things that you can drag and drop in. So over on the side, there are these different design components where you can change out backgrounds, add different colors, add lists and text boxes and those sorts of things. There are uploads, and these are some images that Kevin from Reflow kind of pre-populated over here. So if you wanted to swap this lead image out, oh, there's Sarah. Hey, Sarah, sorry, you kind of got left for a second. Like if you wanted to swap if you wanted to change the picture out, you essentially just drag it over and it'll place it for you in that frame. So all of those things that are pre-populated over here, you'd be free to use these any place that you want them to be. And then if there were other images that you wanted to add, you could upload those here too. Okay, so images are pretty simple to move in and out. And then, I mean, I see you've got some text going in here. That's awesome. So again, like you can just click in here and type on these. If you didn't end up needing all of those text boxes, that's totally fine. Because again, we're going to take the work of all of you guys and kind of summarize it together. All of these things are customizable. So if you want to have, 40% of students are interested in schoolyard redevelopment projects, or the top 4 concerns for students in MPS are, and you could list those in here. You really can just click on this text and make it what you want it to be. And then lastly, the one that's probably like the trickiest is these graphs. You can actually modify the graphs to be all different kinds of data. So let's see if it goes. I'm just going to delete all of this data here. Maybe. But like if you were talking about like grade level, and we had grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. And let's say we had 300 students, 200 students, 250, and 125. Oh, that's a lot. That responded. It will automatically like plot that data for you. And then over here on the side, you can click on the different graphs and it will change the representation for you. So it's kind of cool that with the information that we already have total numbers, we have percentages of how many students responded to each thing, that you can copy and paste that data in here, and then you can just click on these and pick which one you think is the best visual to share some of those results. And like it'll tell you if one of these graphs is impossible because you don't have enough data to accurately represent that. Okay, so totally understand if this is too much, but I appreciate the work and like the thoughtfulness that both you and Sarah are given to the results of this survey. You guys have been so invested in the work that you've been doing this year, and it is really awesome to see that this is an important thing to you. And it's also, especially if you look at the results, sustainability and climate change and all of the issues that go along with it are really important to your peers as well. So our biggest takeaway we want from this whole experience is just, what should we share? We can help figure out how to share it, but what do you absolutely want to make sure that MPS knows and hears from what you and your peers have said? Okay. Kyla, was that helpful at all? Or does it still feel like way too big?
Yeah, that was helpful.
Okay. And then the other thing is, what you can do is, like, say you don't want this chart, you can just delete different things in here. So if you wanted to delete this text box over here, this is how you would add a new block, whether it was a graph or a text box or whatever it might be. You can rearrange things in here. You can also duplicate things. So if you know you're going to want like 3 graphs, you can just copy them. And then this, it'll let you delete things. So I have this little doodad highlighted, or did it take the whole page? It might have taken the whole page. It deleted a block of something. But basically you can select what you want to have represented. We gave you just a lot of template for you guys to be inspired by and figure out how you wanted to share your results. And then we can cut out the other stuff that you don't need. Okay. So that's my tutorial-ish. I'm gonna go back real quick. Let's look at Sarah's. And Kyla, just this back page down here, this is just kind of like your summary of major things you learned, big trends, just kind of like those major points you want to make sure are shared, you could type those in on here, if that's okay for you. I'm gonna go back just to the dashboard and try and pull up Sarah's real quickly. I also feel like I'm talking a lot, so feel free to interrupt me, anybody, if you need to. Let's see, Sarah's. Let me just preview yours. So, you know, Sarah, you did a nice job pulling together some of those like overview, like major highlights for people to understand, you know, audience, like who was surveyed and what those overall response rates are. That's really great to help your reader know like what this, what the survey is representing. I like how you pulled out some of the like main actions that are happening and things that they want to see happen. I think some of that information is really powerful, especially to someone who may just be skimming the report to get like those major takeaways, like those really important pieces that we want to ensure that people know and see from the survey. And again, you're pulling out some of those like major highlights, which is really cool. The one challenge is there's more than 1,800 high school students in MPS. So we have a percentage of students who responded to the survey, and then there's a percentage of those respondents who are sharing these different things that they feel and what they do. So it may be more appropriate, and I know we talked about this, it may be more appropriate to use like percentages here as opposed to the direct count, just because if we were to survey the full population of high school students and get responses from them all, the counts would be much higher, but maybe the percentages would be similar. So, you know, at this point, like if you feel comfortable changing some of these out to percents, that would be great. And if not, just know that like Kevin and I can do that on the back end later, but we'd still be sharing, you know, the number of students who are like ultimately how concerned students are about climate change and how interested they are in learning about sustainability, but it would be on like a percentage value as opposed to a count.
Yeah, I think that the showing percentage would show better results. I don't know how to change the percentages, but.
So what I did, just so you guys can see this, and again, if something from our conversation today, like it's really important and you want to add it to your report, you guys have some time to do that yet. But in the combined data spreadsheet, I went and I did percentages of responses in here next to the counts. So all of those are here. I think for each tab I have that as well. You know, some of these are more straightforward, like the schools and the grade levels. Some of them get more tricky when we were giving them like scales to rate themselves on. So while the grade level's really easy to pull out and find those percentage values on there, something like their knowledge of specific words just becomes more tricky to interpret, because you have some students saying they've never heard of it, or they have, or they can explain it. So these percentages just get a little more wonky. But even though the data is a little bit more complicated, you can still pull out things that are relevant, that may be really powerful. You know, like if I just look at the I can explain it responses, you know, like this one jumps out to me, like almost 80% of students can explain recycling, which is awesome. I would expect that, especially with how strong of a push recycling is given like in our schools and in the community. But to the point we talked about earlier today, still people don't do that. And there's evidence of that in our results. but like that's an important thing that I noticed. I think, you know, I think this one's a powerful one, that climate change, like 66% of kids that can explain climate change, which is, I think that is really powerful to know that, because not only does it mean they can explain it, but it's probably something, it probably has some like importance tied to it, that kids have like internalized what that means and that there is concern for it. When you start to compare some of these results against questions that are in the survey together, it's cool to see that that percentage of students feels comfortable explaining it, and then you see how concerned they are about it. And then things that like I would expect as well are true, like only 11% of students think that they can explain green infrastructure. And I would expect that, you know, that's not something that's common language that people talk about every day. But if you start to spend a little more time looking at this data, you can start to tease out some of those trends and those relationships as you go through. Okay, so each one of the tabs on the bottom now has response percentages included in there too, if you'd rather use those. And then, like I said, if we end up wanting percentages in the final report that goes out, this just makes life easier on our end too, because I have the numbers already, so I can just pull them. Okay. So yeah, I like that you put in some of like your reflections throughout here and added your own text boxes and like different numbers and different representations, which is really cool. So I just want to say, like, I'm very proud of the work that you guys have done, and it is inspiring to see what you guys were able to accomplish and how many people you were able to reach in such a short amount of time. And I really hope that positive experience like helps push you guys forward and do more amazing things, because your voice really does matter. People care about these same sorts of issues and concerns that you have. And it's only through, you know, collective voice and working together and collaborating that things are going to change. And you are helping to impact that change. So I hope you guys feel really good about that. So here's my question to you. If we take like 20, 25 minutes to spend a little time working in PictoChart, does that feel like a good use of your time? Like, do you feel like you can pop in there and add some, you know, either additional graphs or some summary information and just get it all in one spot? Does that sound okay for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, Kyla, you good with that too?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if we all break and we come back at like, what do you want to do, 1:40 or 1:45? And if that's too much time, you just got to tell us. So this way you can knock it out and not have to do so much like in between sessions, right?
I think 1:45 is good.
Okay, well, let's plan on that. So it's about a half hour. I'll probably just turn camera off, but if you guys need anything, you know we're here. Okay. Do you guys, and then Kyla and Sarah, you both know how to get into PictoChart. Does anybody need the login stuff, or would it be helpful to just like drop the link for the data real quick for you guys?
Yeah, I need the data.
Okay, let me grab that. So that should be the spreadsheet. Is the spreadsheet enough, or do you want the other survey results too?
I'm good with this spreadsheet.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Happy analyzing. We'll see you in a half hour.
But also things that need to be changed or things that look concerning.
Awesome. And Kyla, anything coming to the top for you?
I guess like what I've really been focusing on like for to bring the NPS is sort of the sustainability practices of the schools itself. I was really shocked by those results because it was a lot of students that said that they don't know if this is happening or they would like to see even more in comparison to like this is actually happening at the schools, which can be directly impacted by NPS work with, I don't know, I guess teachers and board members. And then the students' interest in like what they want to learn. I think that's important because I think they'll take more interest in it because it was initially their initiative to reach out about what this is. So they can sort of instill some of those topics in the curriculums. And then their overall knowledge of the sort of thing. I agree with you earlier when some of the terminologies and things that they didn't understand or grasp or know about. I sort of expected that too, mainly because like even when I first started before this program, it was certain things that counted as infrastructure or sustainability that I didn't know about. So I think that's important to also take into account like their current knowledge, what they're interested in learning, and mainly what they see around their school and how that can be changed in summary for like the results.
Awesome. Do you both feel like you can kind of wrap up whatever you want to include in your summary report like by Monday next week? And then that'll give us time. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys can like send an email and just say like, hey, I'm done in PictoChart, that would be awesome. And then we'll start kind of working through and trying to pull it together into one full survey. It's not going to be ready by next week, Wednesday, but we will make sure that we keep you guys in the loop. And like as the survey, as that whole report comes together, we can send it to you guys so you can see it and you can give feedback and those sorts of things too. Okay. Awesome. Great work. Kareem, do you want me to share the slide for reflections for you?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool. Let me get right there. And then this one, I think.
I don't know how we are on like time though. So how much time should we?
I mean, it's 1:49. So, I mean, we have a little bit of time, 10 minutes if you want it.
Okay. So really, I think to answer these questions, you probably need like a couple minutes to actually think about it. So Kyla and Sarah, if you take 2 or 3 minutes to think about these questions, and if you can answer them out loud for us, that'd be great, so we can get that recorded.
Do you want me to set like a little timer, like a 3-minute timer or something? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll go back to the questions. I'm sorry. Ah. I'm clicking on other tabs. Do you still see the reflection questions or do you see where I'm clicking?
We see what you're clicking.
All right, let's figure that out. Let me stop and I'll reshare that one again. I'm sorry, guys. Reflections?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. There we go. You guys feel okay to share?
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
Let me make sure I am actually recording stuff. Where's my stuff? Pause share, remote control. Hold on, all my little things are hiding. Oh, it is recording right now, isn't it? Okay. Who would like to, or Kareem, you're leading this. I need to just be present and listen. I'll be quiet now.
You're good. Whoever wants to share first can share first.
Oh, I can go. So this was my first job or first like getting paid in a sense. So it was a fun experience having to, I guess it was different than most first jobs because it was all through Zoom. One thing would be, having extra work besides school because my thing was always just school and maybe sports. I also, something new was getting feedback and giving back feedback. I was always, observing and looking at what others were saying, and I would stay more quiet. But I think having smaller groups, there needed to be some sort of feedback from everybody. And then this program, there's going to be an actual impact in what we're doing right now, or hopefully there will. Also stepping out of my comfort zone, having to share my ideas and what I've been working on, and then just working with people that actually are interested in what they're doing and just reflecting that upon us and encouraging us. And then at the beginning of my internship, I was also working somewhere else, like at a salon. So just having to juggle those two. And then now I'm doing sports. So having to manage my time more. And then everyday life would just be, again, managing time and just being more open.
For me, I would say that prior to this internship, I did not have a lot of knowledge around sustainability, green infrastructure, really environmental stuff, because I didn't take the class in high school. But I am very happy that I did sign up to do this internship because I've learned so much about climate justice awareness, also being able to network and hear from other peers who are also taking the things that are important to them and trying to advocate for it. I think that was really inspiring with the guest speakers and the connections we were able to make. There were so many people we got to meet. Also, you guys are really awesome, always encouraging us and sort of having a plan. It honestly kind of went fast to me, even though I was like juggling a lot of stuff like Sarah. Now that we're at the end, I was like, wow, like we're almost done. But I had a lot of fun, even through like the reflections, the check-ins, some of the activities that we did. I was able to learn a lot outside of school, which I enjoy learning. So it was cool that I was able to pick up on knowledge on my own, well, with the guide of you guys. And then I think that has impacted my everyday life because I am more, I wouldn't say aware, but I'm taking more actions to pay attention and notice different things, like try to apply the knowledge that I've learned to the real world and how it's affecting it, different climate issues or environmental issues that are going on. And I'd agree with Sarah as well, echo what she said about the leadership aspect of it. This smaller group has helped me be more vocal because I'm also the type to sort of let others share their ideas first and quietly agree or something like that. So being able to really share my ideas and my opinions was also very impactful as well.
Sorry, I was trying to write down what you were saying, but it's so if y'all can hear me, I think I'm not muted.
We can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to hear your reflections. I'm glad you learned a lot, not just about green infrastructure and things like that, but you learned a lot about yourselves, it sounds like, and it's helped your development personally and as like just normal adult, I guess. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. That's that's really what I got for the reflections. I wrote down a lot of what you said, and thank you again.
Thank you both for sharing that. I think that's really wonderful. And I love how you've honed in on your own personal growth. And you guys have really done an awesome job taking a really strange scenario and making the best of it and taking advantage of the things that and the opportunities that have come your way. So it just makes me really proud and really happy to hear how you have grown through this and what is going to impact you moving forward. So thank you for sharing. Okay. So I guess in the last couple moments, really it's just talking about wrapping up activities before we meet again next week. I know in Google Classroom, really it's to finish your survey template as far as you want to get that report, and then just send us an email and let us know that it's ready. I am actually putting together another assignment that I hope will go quick for you. It's similar reflections to things that we've said. We just really want to capture those thoughts and ideas for you guys, because those pieces we can put those into the report as well. So then your voice will be amplified in that report. Some of the things that you guys have noticed, some of the impacts that that's made for you. So I just want to make sure that we capture those thoughts and ideas. So what once I have it all together, essentially I made these like response slides in Pear Deck. You guys don't have to answer it in Pear Deck. It'll be in a Google Doc, but just kind of go through these colorful slides, like some major takeaways. What do you definitely want them to know? How did you feel going through this process? And a couple other questions in there. So if you guys can get that done before we meet again next week, that'll just be helpful for us to really make sure your voice is represented and that survey and report and everything that gets shared out on your behalf for the project that you guys have worked on. Okay. Miss Nisha or Kareem or Jose, are there any other things out there that we need to talk about?
No, not really. Just I'm looking forward to you guys' presentations on the 28th. Sarah, have you spoken to Symphony or Karen about your presentation being virtual?
I can go into the arts at large.
Okay. Okay. Just I guess confirming with them because yeah, everybody's presentation is in person. We will be socially distanced. People have masks on, things like that. So, but yeah. And so I know last meeting we wanted clarification on that. So yeah, all the presentations are in person. And yeah, please let us know if you guys need anything that would help with that or say things.
Do you know if they'll record them as well? Because that Friday I'm gonna be out of town. Because it's right against Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I can ask. I don't know. I know she was saying that, you know, it'll be a panelist, you know, and presentations will be done. And there'll be people in the mezzanine, so I can ask if it.
Awesome. Or even just our kids. I would like that.
Okay.
So, okay, cool. Well, good luck, you guys. Enjoy some sunshine and wrapping up the school year. Let us know if you need anything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You too.
I've been sitting out here the whole time. It's just so good.
I know. I want to get out there too, but all right, I'm going to end this because we have Hawthorne in 15 minutes and I don't want Justin to be like, why can't I get into Zoom?
All right.
Awesome. Great job, guys. I'm excited. And then we'll